Have you ever felt weighted down by past pain or struggled with feelings of inadequacy? Are you yearning for inner peace and emotional healing, yet find yourself caught in circles of hurt and confusion? Today we embark on a journey of spiritual awakening. It's a power transformation that begins from within and radiates outward. This path is not without challenges. It asks us to surrender, to walk by faith, and to embrace a new identity anchored in divine truth. But what if the key to your emotional healing lies in this very awakening? So, in this video, we will explore essential teachings on spiritual awakening, revealing how they serve as a guide for overcoming emotional barriers and in stepping into a life of true peace and purpose. From learning to let go of past trauma to embracing your divine identity, these biblical teachings will empower you to break free from the chains of the past. Stay with us until the end, as each segment will provide crucial insights that could be the turning point in your emotional journey. By applying these principles, I'm sure you will find yourself not just surviving, but thriving, experiencing a profound transformation that leads to lasting emotional healing and success in every area of your life. Enjoy the journey. Let me ask you this. Are you truly seeing the world as it is? Or are you trapped in the maze of society's ever-changing opinions? Many people want to embrace a spiritual awakening journey, and that's a good thing. However, we should be careful about one specific problem. In today's world, the lines between right and wrong are blurred, right? We are constantly told that truth is subjective. That is, truth is fluid. Truth bends to our emotions and circumstances, and therefore you should believe in a different truth every time your emotions change. But does that really lead to peace and clarity? Does that really lead to a healthy spiritual awakening? Or does it create more confusion? I like the way the Apostle Paul talks about it in his letter to the Romans. He says, "Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what He wants from you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to its level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you, develops well-formed maturity in you." Okay, so what does this mean? It means that to live fully, we must align ourselves with a truth that doesn't shift with every passing trend. We need to renew our minds to see the world as it truly is, not as it is falsely presented to us. Many people today shy away from the teachings of Jesus, believing them to be rigid, harsh, or even fundamentalist. But here's the truth. Jesus was not about confining you. He was about setting you free. He was about freeing you. His teachings are not shackles. They are keys to unlock the chains society has bound around our minds. We think that freedom means doing whatever we feel like, right? But real freedom, the kind that brings emotional healing and clarity, comes from aligning with the unchanging truth. Jesus taught us love, He taught us grace, forgiveness, peace, the very tools we need to heal emotionally in a world that is, quite frankly, broken. But these misconceptions about Jesus being a strict religious figure rather than the source of emotional liberty keep people from experiencing the comfort and healing Jesus' words bring. When you misunderstand who Jesus is, you miss out on His transformative power, and you continue to carry emotional baggage that could have been healed. So I ask you today, are you willing to renew your mind? Are you ready to shed the lies, the confusion, and the anxiety that this world sells you and embrace the liberating truth that Jesus offers? Are you ready to embrace your spiritual awakening journey? The truth is waiting for you. Will you answer the call? Is it really possible to walk by faith and not by sight? This is the question that stirs within all of us, right? Especially when life's path seems so unclear and our vision of the future is clouded by fear and doubt. Yet take a look at Paul's words to the church in Corinth. That's why we live with such good cheer. You won't see us drooping our heads or dragging our feet. Cramped conditions here don't get us down. They only remind us of the spacious living conditions ahead. It's what we trust in but don't yet see that keeps us going. Do you suppose a few ruts in the road or rocks in the path are going to stop us? When the time comes, we will be plenty ready to exchange exile for homecoming. Good word, right? But how can we truly live this way in a world that demands we see, measure, and prove everything? Is there a power in faith that can lead us beyond what our eyes can see? Faith is more than just belief. It's a spiritual awakening that transforms the way we experience life. When we walk by faith, we stop relying on what is visible and trust in the unseen hand of God to guide us. This is where true peace is found, not in the certainty of circumstances, but in the confidence of God's promises. You see, it's about developing a deep relationship with Christ, allowing His love to awaken us to a life of purpose and healing. This kind of faith does not just change our circumstances, it changes us. However, let's be honest. Many people think trusting in Jesus' teachings is irrelevant or even foolish in today's fast-paced world. We are told that faith is just an illusion, a waste of time that blinds us to reality. But this misconception couldn't be further from the truth. The real tragedy lies in the hearts that reject faith and, as a result, remain stuck in cycles of emotional pain and confusion. Because without faith, we are left to navigate life's storms with no anchor at all. We miss out on the healing power that trust in God brings to our brokenness. So, what does this mean for us today? Well, it means that walking by faith is not just possible, it's essential. Faith opens doors that sight alone can never unlock. It brings clarity where there is confusion. It brings peace where there is chaos. Faith brings healing where there is hurt. And here's my challenge for you. Take a bold step today. It's time to embrace a new way of walking by faith not by sight. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you truly let your light shine for the world to see? What if your life became a signal of hope, a reflection of God's love, an instrument for change? In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus provides us with an intriguing teaching. He says, "You are here to be light, bringing out the God colors in the world. God is not a secret to be kept. We are going public with this, as public as a city on a hill. If I make you light bearers, you don't think I'm going to hide you under a bucket, do you? I'm putting you on a light stand. Now that I've put you there, on a hilltop, on a light stand, shine! Keep open house. Be generous with your lives. By opening up to others, you will prompt people to open up with God, this generous Father in heaven." Well, this is more than a call to kindness or good works, isn't it? It's an invitation to proclaim God's message in a world that desperately needs it. Each of us is called to be a light, illuminating the path towards spiritual awakening, toward emotional healing and eternal hope. Yet, in the world buzzing with technology and modern advances, many people mistakenly believe we no longer need God's comfort, we no longer need God's peace or God's miracles. Please don't get me wrong, I love technological advances. But I'm just saying that if we understand that science and progress have replaced the divine, that our souls can be mended by gadgets, and our hearts can be healed by algorithms, we will become an empty bunch of people, right? This is a lie that steals our peace. After all, God is the creator and giver of our intelligence. Today's technological development exists thanks to God's mercy, thanks to God's generosity towards us. The truth is, we need God more now than ever. The more we try to substitute His presence with material solutions, the more we miss out on the deep, lasting emotional healing He offers. You know that, right? We all carry wounds, silent wounds that technology cannot touch. We need the comfort of a loving God who sees beyond the surface. He brings peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace the world cannot give. So do not allow this misconception to dim your light. By hiding your faith or holding back from sharing God's truth, you not only lose the chance to heal others, you lose the chance to heal yourself. So today, let your light shine. That's right, be the voice that reminds the world of God's unwavering love. Share your story, share your faith, share your journey. Don't be afraid to glorify God through your good deeds, for when you shine, you offer hope. Now, here's your challenge. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let your voice be heard. How will you let your light shine? Can you imagine being completely recreated, made new by God Himself? Pause for a moment and think about it. What if the hurts, mistakes, and regrets that define you could be erased? What if you could walk in freedom, walk in joy and peace, like a new person? The incredible truth is this: you can be recreated by God. The Apostle Paul, in his second letter to the church in Corinth, tells his friends, "We no longer evaluate people by what they have or how they look. We looked at the Christ that way once and got it all wrong, as you know. We certainly don't look at Him that way anymore. Now we look inside, and what we see is that anyone united with Jesus gets a fresh start, is created new. The old life is gone, a new life emerges. Look at it. This is indeed awesome, but it's more than just a comforting phrase. It's a powerful, transformative promise. Through a relationship with God built on the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, we can become new people. That's right, not just better versions of ourselves, but completely new. And this renewal is not just about spiritual revival. It also brings emotional healing. It restores our broken hearts. It lifts our spirits. It heals the wounds that life has inflicted on us. But too often, this beautiful truth is clouded by misconceptions. People assume that following Jesus is about putting on a facade, pretending to be perfect, and playing a hypocritical religious game. They see followers of Jesus still struggling, still sinning, and think, this faith thing must be fake. But here's the real deal. Being a follower of Christ doesn't mean we become perfect overnight. No, it means we have committed ourselves to a journey. We are still flawed. We're still battling sin. But God is at work in us, changing us from the inside out. Actually, this ongoing transformation is evidence of God's power. The idea that faith demands perfection is a lie. It's a lie that prevents many from receiving the emotional healing God offers. Healing comes not from pretending to be perfect, but from admitting our need for Him. So it looks like the right question is not, can you be recreated by God? But rather, are you ready to be made new? Are you ready to step into this process of transformation and healing? Remember, God is not finished with you yet. He is ready to work wonders in your life, one day at a time. What if the key to your deepest healing is letting go of your need for control? What if instead of trying to fix every problem yourself, you could rest in the powerful truth that God is working all things, yes, all things, for your good? Look at these amazing words from the book of Romans. Meanwhile, the moment we get tired in the waiting, God's Spirit is right alongside, helping us along. If we don't know how or what to pray, it doesn't matter. He does our praying in and for us, making prayer out of our wordless sighs, our aching groans. He knows us far better than we know ourselves, knows our pregnant condition, and keeps us present before God. That's why we can be so sure that every detail in our lives of love for God is worked into something good. But how often do we truly live by this, right? The moment we hit challenges, we feel the need to take control, to manage every detail ourselves. But here's the reality. Healing doesn't come from striving. Healing comes from surrender. When we surrender to God's will, we step into a divine exchange. We release our burdens, and God gives us peace. We give up our anxieties, and He offers us healing. The world tells us that we must be in control, that only by our own strength will we find healing. But this is where faith offers something radically different: trust in God's greater plan. Now, let's clear up some common misconceptions about what it means to trust God for emotional healing. Many believe that having faith means life will be easy, or that we won't experience pain. But faith is not a ticket out of hardship. Instead, it is the confidence that God is with us in our pain, using even our deepest struggles for a purpose we cannot always see. Misunderstanding this keeps us from the very healing we seek. We resist letting go because we think surrender is weakness. But in God's kingdom, surrender is the pathway to strength and restoration. So, what can we take from this? Well, healing begins when we release our desire to control the outcome and embrace God's divine plan. It is in the letting go that we discovered God's unfathomable love and His power to heal what we cannot. And here's where the real journey begins. I invite you to reflect on this question. Where are you still holding on when you need to let go? I want to begin this video with a crucial question for you. What if the very thing holding you back from peace is the thing you are holding on to? The truth is, many of us cling to anger, grudges, and resentment like shields, believing they protect us. But what if they are not shields at all? What if they are chains? I like the way the Apostle Paul explains that in his letter to the Ephesians. He says, "Make a clean break with all cutting, backbiting, profane talk. Be gentle with one another, sensitive. Forgive one another as quickly and thoroughly as God in Christ forgave you." Now, this is not just a call to be nice. It's a powerful invitation to unlock your own heart. When we hold on to grudges, we think we are guarding ourselves from pain, right? But instead, we block our own spiritual and emotional growth. Unforgiveness builds walls that keep us stuck in the past, unable to move forward. Unforgiveness creates an emotional and spiritual blockage. Unforgiveness weighs down our spirit and clouds our joy. Here's the misconception. Many believe that forgiveness is about letting others off the hook. We think that if we forgive, it means the pain they caused us didn't matter, or that we are condoning their actions. But forgiveness is not about the other person. No, it's about you. Forgiveness teaches you how to love the person you. Forgiveness aligns you with God's grace, and in doing so, you free yourself from the emotional turmoil that has taken root in your heart. You see, you are not condoning, you are releasing. You are no longer bound by the weight of someone else's actions. This misconception, this belief that forgiveness is weakness, blocks us from the healing we desperately need. Let me put this way. Forgiveness is not surrendering your power. It's reclaiming it. When we forgive, we don't deny the hurt. We transcend it. We open ourselves to the peace that surpasses all understanding. we step into the flow of grace, healing not only our relationships with others, but also with ourselves. That's where inner peace begins. So I leave you with this. What weight are you carrying that's no longer serving you? Have you ever questioned your worth? Have you ever wondered if you are good enough, capable enough, or deserving of love? You are not alone. So many of us wrestle with feelings of inadequacy, haunted by the whisper that says we are not enough. But what if I told you that these feelings are not only false, but they can be completely transformed by understanding one simple yet profound truth? You are deeply loved by God. The prophet Zephaniah, in his biblical book, tells us that the Lord rejoices over us with gladness and quiets us with his love. He says, "The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In his love he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing." Now think about that for a moment. The creator of the universe, the one who holds the stars in place, rejoices over you. He sees beyond your mistakes, beyond your failures. He loves you not because of what you do, but because of who you are. When you awaken to this reality, something amazing happens. Because you start to see yourself through God's eyes. You begin to realize that you are inherently worthy, that your value is not determined by others' opinions or your own self-criticisms, but by the unchanging love of God. This truth has the power to heal. Every scar from rejection, every wound from failure, and every ache from shame can be restored in the light of God's love. You see, your worth is not defined by your past, your mistakes, or even your greatest achievements. Your worth is eternal, is fixed, is rooted in the divine identity that God has given you. You are loved. You are valued. You are celebrated by the one who knows you better than anyone else. And when you truly embrace this, all the feelings of inadequacy start to melt away. So how do we step into this truth? How do we move from head knowledge to heart transformation? Well, it starts with a decision to believe what God says about you more than what your inner critic, your past, or others have told you. Choose to fill your mind with God's words of affirmation. Reflect on the fact that you are His masterpiece, crafted with purpose and intention. Have you ever wondered why the pain of your past keeps resurfacing when you are striving to move forward? It's almost as if just when you think you have buried those old wounds, they rise again, demanding to be acknowledged. Well, in the Bible, Psalm 147 tells us that God heals the brokenhearted. and binds up their wounds. This verse is a powerful reminder that spiritual awakening often brings hidden pain to light, inviting us to confront and release it. When we embark on a journey of faith, God's presence works like a mirror, reflecting every corner of our soul, even the dark and painful parts we have long forgotten or avoided. Now, this is not to torment us, but to set us free. It is His invitation to let His healing light shine on those wounds, to feel His comfort, and to find true release from the chains of past trauma. Yet, many of us cling to misconceptions about God's role in our healing. We might believe that God wants us to simply forget our pain, or suppress our emotions, or that having faith means we must always feel happy and whole. But this couldn't be further from the truth, you know. God doesn't ask us to ignore our suffering. God calls us to bring it to Him. God calls us to lay down our burdens at His feet, knowing that His love can mend what is broken. You see, these misconceptions can trap us in a cycle of unresolved pain, preventing us from experiencing the full depth of God's healing. It is not about pretending the past never happened. It is about facing it with God by our side. Because God is not a distant observer, but an intimate healer, ready to touch the deepest parts of our soul with His transformative love. So, as we navigate this process, let's remember, God's healing is not just about removing the scars, but about reshaping them into testimonies of His grace. It is a divine exchange, you see, our brokenness for His wholeness. So are you ready to let God's healing presence transform your pain into peace? The choice is yours. But remember that every step you take towards healing, no matter how small, is a step closer to the freedom that God desires for you. Let's walk this path together. Share your journey. Write in the comments below about your experiences with letting go and finding healing. Also, dive deeper into this topic by watching the related videos on this channel. Thank you very much for being here today.